Hello everyone. My name is Umar, addressing you direct from the Plutus headquarters in Karol Bagh, Delhi. Today we're going to touch upon the constitutional evolution of Jammu and Kashmir. Its story through accession, to autonomy, to integration, and finally reorganization in 1940s, from 1947 to 2019. So that we'll be engaging ourselves in this course of time with regards to constitutional evolution of Jammu and Kashmir from the princely state to union territory. Jammu and Kashmir is the only region in India whose constitutional status was shaped by war, diplomacy, international law, and constitutional engineering simultaneously. Only state in India. Then let's try to understand why Jammu and Kashmir is constitutionally different, why it has traditionally been. It was the largest princely state in 1947. Not only that, it was one of the largest Muslim majority populations in 1947. Again, a Muslim majority population, but then again, a ruler who was a Hindu. So a Hindu ruler, in fact, there's this beautiful book called, you should go through it, much authentic and very research-oriented from Mridu Roy. It's called Hindu Rulers, Muslim Subjects. That should be a separate read if you again want to go deeper into understanding Jammu and Kashmir. So it was one of the largest Muslim majority populations. It was ruled by a Hindu ruler, and then again it was a border state with its borders bordering Pakistan, China, and Afghanistan. Geopolitically, as such, it was a very, very sensitive region. JNK was not merely a political unit. It was a strategic space. No other princely state combined demography, geography, and international attention the way Jammu and Kashmir did. Jammu and Kashmir bordered 3 foreign entities more than any other princely state. So in 1947, when the Indian Independence Act was finally passed, princely states were given a legal choice. Legal choice when the Indian Independence Act of 1947 was passed. These princely states became legally sovereign. They had a choice to accede to India, accede to Pakistan, or remain independent, theoretically. Legally speaking, Jammu and Kashmir was not part of India on 15th August 1947. So legally speaking, Jammu and Kashmir was not part of India on 15th August 1947. Its future depended on voluntary acts of accession, not force. Kashmir did not start as a constitutional problem. It became one because of political hesitation and geopolitical pressures. We had something called as the Standstill Agreement in 1947. This was, it is just in the backdrop of 1947 when India and Pakistan have attained their independence, and these princely states are given the choice to either join, accede to India, accede to Pakistan, or remain independent. This standstill agreement comes up, which was signed between Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan. The aim was to maintain a status quo. No standstill agreement was signed with India. Pakistan violated this standstill agreement of 1947. The standstill agreement is often ignored, but it is crucial. Pakistan accepted responsibility for peace and administration and then actually violated it. India defended Kashmir without ever signing a standstill agreement. Come October 1947, and we see this tribal invasion from Pakistan. The tribesmen from northwest frontier provinces, backed by Pakistan, rapidly they collapsed the state authority. We saw the state authority in Jammu and Kashmir collapsing. Muzaffarabad and Baramulla were deeply affected. This invasion transformed Kashmir from a constitutional question into a military emergency. Srinagar airport was nearly about to be captured. Accession was signed under imminent threat of a state collapse, and the Maharaja signs instrument of accession with the Union of India. Accession was not a choice made in comfort. It was a decision taken under existential pressure. The very existence was under threat. This instrument of accession was signed on 26th of October 1947. It was signed between, again, Maharaja Hari Singh, accepted by India on 27th of October. Same legal format was applied as with other states, and India's jurisdiction, the Union's jurisdiction over Kashmir was limited to 3 subjects. Legally, Jammu and Kashmir's accession was valid and complete. Politically, it was limited and conditional. Many princely states did accede to India on more subjects than Jammu and Kashmir initially. Jammu and Kashmir initially acceded to India on the basis of these 3 subjects only. Now, the subjects of accession were these, it was defense, external affairs, and communications. One must understand that the residuary powers means the powers which were not mentioned, the residuary powers vested with the state in context of the instrument of accession signed between Union of India and Jammu and Kashmir, Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. This limited accession is the constitutional root of Article 370, or it was the constitutional root of Article 370. India respected the original terms of accession. Special status for Jammu and Kashmir flowed not from separatism, but from the terms of accession. This issue was taken in the international forums. India itself took it into the United Nations. So United Nations intervention was because India approached UN in 1944. Ceasefire line emerges after that. Kashmir becomes an international issue in the backdrop. Kashmir became the only Indian territory issue debated globally. No other Indian territory issue was that much debated globally. J&K was discussed in the United Security Council before the Indian Constitution was actually finalized. So that should give you a heads up about the importance of this issue. So there was this political understanding with Sheikh Abdullah and the Indian Union. He was one of the most popular leaders in Jammu and Kashmir at that point of time. The grandfather of the present Chief Minister Umar Abdullah, the father of the former Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah, this was Sheikh Abdullah, also called as the Lion of Kashmir. So he was a very popular leader in Kashmir. A promise of autonomy was made to him. Democratic consent narratives were flaunted around. India chose political accommodation over coercion. Article 370 was born more out of political trust than of constitutional compulsion. One needs to understand that. This Article 370 in the Constitutional was placed in Part 21 of the Indian Constitutional. constitution. And then again, it was mentioned as a temporary and a transitional provision in the Constitution of India. This led to something called as asymmetric federalism in the Indian context. Asymmetric federalism, not symmetric, as was the case with other provinces of India. Temporary, when I said temporary did not mean short-lived. It meant conditional and reversible, which the Supreme Court of India, after the abrogation of Article 370, has upheld. Article 370 was the only provision limiting the Parliament's legislative supremacy over the state. Parliament is supreme in its right to legislate for all territories of India, but Article 370 was the only provision limiting Parliament's legislative supremacy over the state. So let's try to understand the mechanics of Article 370. This Article 370 gave limited application of the Constitution of India to the state of Jammu and Kashmir because it had its own constitution. So a limited application of the Constitution of India to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Presidential orders were required, in fact, to actually apply any of the orders or laws to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, extend them there. State concurrence in that aspect was very much necessary. Separate constitution was there. It was the only state in India which had a separate constitution. Article 370 hence functioned like a constitutional gateway. So it was 370 was functioning like a constitutional gateway, not a wall. It wasn't a barrier, but it was functioning as a constitutional gateway to Jammu and Kashmir, which had its own constitution. So let's talk a little bit about Constitution application of J&K Order 1950, which was passed again and ratified by the President. This was passed by the President. It applied limited articles, recognized the Constituent Assembly and the interim arrangements that were made in Jammu and Kashmir. This was the first step of controlled integration. Then in 1952, the Delhi Agreement happened, very important from your exam point of view also. It was an agreement, it's called the Delhi Agreement of 1952. This was an agreement between Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, and Sheikh Abdullah. Again, on many occasions and at many places you will see Sheikh Abdullah mentioned on these inauguration stones as the Prime Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. So it was an agreement between Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah. Citizenship of India was extended, autonomy was given in internal matters, and special rights, it had provisions for special rights for residents of Jammu and Kashmir. The Delhi Agreement politically clarified what Article 370 legally implied. Citizenship of India was explicitly extended through an agreement, not assumed. Presidential Order of 1954 actually was the turning point. So this presidential order was passed in 1954. It extended the fundamental rights enumerated in the Constitution of India. So it extended them to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And it extended the Supreme Court's jurisdiction to state of Jammu and Kashmir. Also important that it introduced this presidential order of 1954, introduced Article 35A to the Constitution of India. If there is one order that shaped J&K for decades, if there has ever been one order that shaped J&K for decades, it is this order of presidential order of 1954. And it also introduced this Article 35A, talked about much. So this was a talked about much after its abrogation. But Article 35A up until now had been a very silent but a very powerful article in the Constitution of India. Talked about permanent residence, talked about land ownership, government employment, scholarships. So it talked about all of that. Article 35A created a constitutional citizenship regime. This Article 35A was never debated in the Parliament of India. Let's try to understand the J&K Constitution of 1957. So this was a separate constitution for the state of Jammu and Kashmir, erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, that's a union territory now. So it had a separate constitution of its own. Not only that, but a separate flag of its own. The residuary powers rested in case of Jammu and Kashmir with the state. That means, like we have in the Indian constitution, the residuary powers rest with the center. But in Jammu and Kashmir's case, it was something else. The residuary powers were left with the state. The integral part of India was affirmed. J&K being an integral part of India, that was affirmed by the J&K's constitution of 1957. So J&K simultaneously asserted integration and autonomy. It became the only state with its own constitution, made by its own constituent assembly. This constituent assembly was dissolved itself, so there was no replacement body for this constitutional constituent assembly. This created a constitutional deadlock. A temporary provision became permanent due to institutional absence. Gradual erosion of autonomy happened from 1953 to 1989 when Sheikh Abdullah was dismissed. Governor replaced the Sadr-e Riyasat. Sadr-e Riyasat was the head of the executive of the state. The state was Sadr-e Riyasat, and then it changed to the governor. Central laws were extended to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Emergency provisions of the Indian Constitution were also applied. Autonomy was politically promised, administratively diluted. Insurgency and the central control post 1989. We know 1989 saw insurgency rising in Kashmir backed by Pakistan. Militancy rose. President's rule was extended to Jammu and Kashmir. Democratic vacuum was seen in every aspect of governance. Governance shifted from representative to managerial in Jammu and Kashmir. Now it was about managing things rather than being representative of things. J&K has spent maximum time under the president's rule. Now, before 2019, when Article 370 was actually abrogated, the state was under long president's rule. Assembly had been dissolved. This changed the political context. 2019 was not certain. It was structurally prepared. Then the Article 370's the constitutional strategy of 2019, if you want to understand that, then the Article 367 was reinterpreted. Article 367 of Indian Constitution, it was reinterpreted in context of Jammu and Kashmir. Parliament acted as a state legislature. Then we had the Order 273 and CO 273. This was constitutional re-engineering, actually, not suspension, re-engineering of the constitutional. Article 370 was neutralized using Article 370 itself. J&K Reorganization Act 2019 was passed, and two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir with legislature and Ladakh without legislature, were created. For the first time, Indian federalism moved backwards, moved back structurally to move forward politically. So this was the first time it was happening that Indian federalism was moving backwards structurally to move forward politically. Post-2019 constitutional changes that have happened are that now full constitution of India applies to the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. Central laws are extended to the state, all of them. New domicile rules have been ordered, reservation benefits have been kept. Integration now became formal, complete, and uniform. Again, it was challenged in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's verdict of 2023 is important, where it sanctified Article 370 was temporary. It held the actions, upheld the actions of the legislature, the central legislature, which is the Parliament of India, but it reiterated about statehood, which would be restored, and the incumbent government also promising the restoration of statehood. The court validated the process but stressed democratic restoration. Jammu and Kashmir as such becomes a case study in federalism. This asymmetric federalism, centralization versus autonomy, constitutional flexibility, it becomes a case study in all those aspects. Jammu and Kashmir teaches us that the Indian constitution is not rigid, it is adaptive. To sum it up, accession of Jammu and Kashmir to the Union of India was legal, autonomy was political, integration of Jammu and Kashmir to India was constitutional, and reorganization was structural. The story of Jammu and Kashmir is not about losing autonomy or gaining control. It's about the Indian Constitution learning how to govern complexity. Ended on that. I hope you understood.